it kind of stood out to us last year. My daughter plays softball for Bridgewater College. And so something that Nana always felt very special about was being able to go to the kids' ball games. She was their biggest fan. And so we would try to get her there. A lot of times weekends worked better, but if there was something that was here during the week, we would try to rush home, grab her, make sure she had dinner, and then get her to the games. And one particular evening, our schedules were crazy, and my husband works in Mount Jackson, and he wasn't able to get back as quickly as he had thought. And I had been out of town in some trainings in other divisions. And so we just were running short on time, and we wanted to get to the ball game. And so we were looking at our clocks. We're like, I don't think we're gonna have time to get Nana and get her ready and get her fed. And so we just kind of said, you know what, we'll just get her the weekend. We're gonna have to get there, and it's gonna be rushed and not feel as good as it probably should. So we were rushing into the field, and if you know Bridgewater, it's down by the river, and we kind of were running so late that we thought we would go in the back and not disrupt the bleachers and everything going up front. So we got our chairs and we were setting them up, and we were like, okay, we made it, the game's starting, but they were doing announcements, and there was a whole kind of an assembled group at the front that we were looking in on, and we were kind of far away, we're kind of in center field. And all of a sudden, we started to hear them announcing that there were special guests there today, and they were so glad that we could have people to join them, and we saw this tent. And then they said, and today there's going to be a special guest throwing out the first pitch. And I'm putting my chair down and I'm looking, and it looks like my daughter's at home plate ready to catch. And then they announced that there's Nana. She's on the mound, and we're like, that's her purple shirt? That is Nana. So she was there. Not only was she there, she was on the field, and she was having such a moment. It was applause, and it was hugs and high fives. The team gave her a ball that they had all signed that's in her room, and she had a tent to sit right behind home plate with all of her lady friends, and that's what she calls them, lady friends. And for me in that moment, it was, you know, we could have grabbed her and she could have had that experience with us, but this was her moment. It was with her people. She was bragging about her granddaughter, true or not true. She was telling them things, and it was her group and it was her friends, and what an experience. And she was just so happy. And so for us, we were like, you know, she's here. And when our lives are crazy and we're still trying to raise our family, but we're also trying to meet the needs of our family that's older and have their own needs, it's being picked up and it's taken care of. And so that meant so much to us. And I could probably go on, but that's what makes this community so special. It's the staff and how they just know their residents. They know what they need and when they need it. It's not just care that's provided. It feels like they create the moments that matter most. Not just to Nana. I see it all the time when they're celebrating highs and they're supporting lows, right? And getting them through it. So I guess for that evening, when I thought about gratitude and what it really represents, I was just so deeply appreciative for this Bridgewater community and the employees, and they choose meaningful work, and they're volunteers. They just give freely of their time and their efforts and their talents. And I was so thankful for donors because they help sustain that and help this mission. And so because of each of those people, the employees, the volunteers, the donors, you know, we're able to see this work and feel it and see the heart behind it, and the compassion and the respect and just that human connection that shapes their lives. So when I first visited and I said that it was a feeling, I know what the feeling is. That's it. And so when I close this, I would just say that, you know, Nana did get to go to a game with us this year, and we were, it was a weekend and our schedules were a little less crazy, and we were able to get her there, but she sat through the first game and then she said, yeah, I'm ready to go home. And I said, okay. So we packed her up and we brought her back, and we were walking in through the doors back to her home, and she calls it her apartment. And she looked over at me and she said, you know, it's really nice here. I really like it here. I don't know how I got this, but I'm glad I did. And I was like, well, okay, that's it. That's what it means. That's her words, and that's how she feels. And so I guess I would just say that we are so thankful for the care that's given and the dignity and the way it's upheld and the love that's shared that makes a difference every day for the Nanas that are here, the Nanas that will come and the Nanas that have been here before. So thanks for making the difference in our lives and Nana's life.